Hey everyone, Gaijin Goomba here. You know, it's almost been 2 years now since I started this show, and one of the things that I talked about in one of my very first videos was the Legend of Zelda, specifically about the Triforce. Some of you hardened veterans may remember how I said the Triforce was an icon taken directly from the Hojo clan's Mitsuuroko. Well, I've been giving it some thought, and I think it's about time that I return to this franchise. And believe me when I say there is a lot to talk about. But for this time around, I want to do something special. Let's talk controversy. From the original Legend of Zelda Triforce of the Gods to present day, there have been a lot of things that have gotten this franchise into hot water. One of the first, though, was the Manji. It was the third temple in the original Zelda, and you can see why it sparked such controversy. Even to this day, there are people who are freaking out thinking that Zelda had a secret agenda with Nazis. But what's truly sad here is that the swastika has a completely different polar opposite meaning. What do I mean by that? Here's a brief history lesson. The word swastika is broken down into 3 words in Sanskrit. Su, meaning good, asti, meaning to be, and ka, meaning one's soul. So all together now, well-being of the soul. It was a symbol of luck, peace, and prosperity amongst many different regions and religions, spanning its origins back to the Bronze Age. Buddhists and Hindus of Asia, Africans, Armenians, Greeks, Baltics, Slavics, even the good old USA used the swastika in one positive fashion or another. It was only until that goose-stepping came into play in the world that the symbol of peace, prosperity, and general goodwill was turned into a symbol of hatred, intolerance, and bigotry, which is a crying shame considering how worldly this symbol is and what it truly means. So you know what, Zelda? You keep doing what you're doing. Now, some of you may be saying that this was a simple controversy, that a lot of people know good and well that the Nazi swastika is not the same as the everyone else in the world swastika. Alrighty then, let's talk about something that lingers even more so in the shadows. Something that everyone knows was a controversy, but perhaps have absolutely no idea why. Let's crack open the Ocarina of Time. Oh, this game. This game is so ripe with controversy that some major changes had to happen. But why? What was the big deal? What was so wrong with the mirror shield? What was wrong with the chanting in the fire temple? Well, folks, hold on to your butts, because these 2 things are so controversial, I needed the help of my Islamic fans to help me get the message out and right. And the response from you guys has been absolutely stellar. My good friend, Mohammed Faisal, and one of my artists/staff members of the Gaijin Goomba fan club on DeviantArt.com, nicknamed Karas, who are both Muslim, have been assisting me and will be assisting me explaining these issues. So let's start with the mirror shield, as well as every block and switch in the entire game. Now, according to the internet, the star and the crescent symbolizes the embracing of Islam. But what exactly does that mean? Well, I sat down with my buddy Mohammed and he explained it like this. The whole idea of the crescent moon and stars comes from 2 very important things. Firstly is the holiday of Ramadan, where Muslims fast from dawn till dusk, wear simple clothes, and perform good deeds. When fasting, Muslims will not curse, eat, drink, smoke, or wear perfume. But man, when that crescent moon appears in the sky, it's time to cut loose with one of the most energetic Islamic holidays ever. Eid al-Fitr, a super fun time of feasting and celebration with families, brothers, daughters, cousins, parents. Everyone's having a good time. Kids also get a little bit of holiday money as well. The second source of the mirror shield's appearance can also come from the fact that the Islamic calendar's month usually ends on a crescent moon in the lunar cycle. If on the 30th no crescent moon is seen, the following 31st day will be the end of the month's cycle. What makes this reference all the stronger in Ocarina of Time is that the mirror shield not only has the crescent moon and star, but the whole shield looks like it's covered in a starry night when you first get it. That's just so cool, right? Anyway, a big thanks to you, Mohammed, for that info. Alright, so the crescent moon and star may not be as controversial as some of you may have thought, but the fire temple. Oh boy, this one was a doozy. Let me go ahead and explain something here. These air quote chants are part of a very important prayer in Islam called the Adhan, or call to prayer. How important is it? When I gave my helpers these audio files, they explained to me how utterly jarring and even sinful they felt as they heard it. Why? Because the call to prayer should be responded to by turning off all music and distracting sounds. To not do so would be ignoring the call. So to have music in any association with these words in the fire temple is highly controversial. So what about the prayer itself? What does it mean? Well, I'm going to let Carlos explain the individual words and their meanings. I want this very important bit of information to be explained to you by a primary source. And I'm also going to go ahead and turn down the music out of respect for all of the people who hold these words so closely to their hearts. So Karas, the floor is yours.
The following can be heard as inshallah. Inshallah meaning, if Allah wills, or God willing. The first bit's a little hard to make out due to the echo. However, I can infer that the following is La ilaha illallah, meaning there is no deity but God, or there is no God but Allah. Now this one's a bit harder to make out due to the overlapping echoes of the previous track. However, it can be inferred that it's saying Allahu Akbar, meaning God is great. Now, before anyone asks, no, this is not a completed prayer. However, these are quite common words in Arabic dialect. For example, inshallah, most people use this as kind of like a maybe whenever you go into a conversation. For example, if I really wanted something, my mother would say inshallah, aka if God wills, and eventually I'd never get an answer, I'd never get a yes or a no, but hey, if God wills. Next is, La ilaha illallah. Now, La ilaha illallah, of course used in many prayers, is also a huge portion of the Shahada, which is, well, what you say to become a Muslim. In this case, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, which translates to, there is no God but God. Muhammad is the messenger of God. And lastly, Allahu Akbar. Now, Allahu Akbar is used in, every prayer. Well, pretty much every prayer. This is what we say before we, bring our heads down to bow before God. If that's all I can add here for now, Gaijin. Hope this was of help to you.
Thanks, Karas. Some of you may also be wondering why this was used in the Fire Temple and not somewhere more obviously Middle East themed like the Spirit Temple. Well, remember back in my first Final Fantasy video when I talked about Ifrit, or Ifrit if you will? I stated before that Ifrit are beings of fire and not inherently evil. Many of them are believers. Now some of them are called out by certain music or sounds, and it may be the gentle music of the Fire Temple that brings out the Ifrit who begin the prayer. Beings of Flame, Temple of Flame, prayer chanting after initial music is played, it just all makes sense. And I believe that's all I have time for today, everyone. Did you like the information? Well, this is just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to all of the cultural references I've discovered and continue to discover about The Legend of Zelda. If you guys want to hear even more, let me know in the comments section. If enough people are interested, I could easily turn this into another little mini-series. I think you would all really enjoy the mounds of information I have. But until then, this is Gaijin Goomba, signing out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to check out my channel here for more videos about culture and gaming. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and the above-mentioned Gaijin Goomba fan club on DeviantArt.com. But if you're hungry for more, MatPat, Ronnie, and myself have even more mind-blowing soup ready to serve on the Game Theorists channel. Careful though, it's hot, hot stuff.